Hello, this is Trans Creator Connections. My name is Madison Moffat, and my pronouns are she and her. And my lovely guest here is somebody who I respect to the extent that I shall allow them to introduce themselves.
I am Atlas Bailey, and I use he, she, and they pronouns, so you can't really get it wrong.
Can't get it wrong. So it's all being very convenient,
Mm.
and I thank you for that.
Yeah, no, not a problem.
There's already a little bit of banter going on, and one reason for that is that Atlas and I actually got on quite well, do we not?
Yes, yes.
Yes, we do. And we work together in a number of fields, actually.
Yes, across a
Yes.
couple of different things.
But, of course, Trans Creator Connections being what it is, we'll focus on the creative elements.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll get you to outline some of the wonderful things that you do in that field, in that realm.
I guess I'd start with the business that I run, which is
Yes.
called Atlas of Identity, where we make basically jewellery, accessories, that sort of thing. Everything from pants chains, glasses chains that are based around queer identities.
Yes, if it can be strung together and beaded, you'll do it.
Yes, 100%.
Or attached to a chain.
Yes, attached to something that goes onto your being. Yes.
Lovely, yeah. What else would you say? I mean, I know there's a few other things you do.
I have my own creative practice sort of that I do for my mental health, a practice called Zentangling.
Yeah, okay.
So Zentangling is basically, I came across it on TikTok, but basically you draw a couple of shapes on a page,
Right.
And then you trace those lines on the inside and the outside of the shapes until you filled the whole page.
You just keep tracing around those shapes and it sort of becomes like a bit of an echo.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a visual echo.
Exactly. And so the point of it is less about creating perfect shapes.
Yes.
And it's more about you just focus on following the line before the line.
Yeah, so I may well have been shown that at some point as a small child, maybe in an art class, but unless that happened, I think I sort of just came up with that myself as well, all by myself. But, for my own entertainment. It's very relaxing, isn't it?
I find it a lot. I tried to get into adult coloring and I just couldn't. Adult coloring, I found it like the intricacies of the page, the sort of thickness of your pens.
Yes.
They don't match up a lot of the time.
Yes.
Whereas with the Zentangling, there's no you're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to color in the perfect line or anything like that. You don't even have to use different colors. You can use the same color the whole way through.
Yeah.
And it's just a focused practice on just the line that you're working on.
All you really are at that point, or at least so far as you can make out, is the person drawing lines.
Yes.
And not even thinking too much about those, but just following the pattern.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Not
lovely.
even a pattern, just following the line before. It's so simplistic to me. It's just you focus on one line and you can just be in the moment with that one line.
And you're also into broadcasting.
I'm on 3CR on Queering the Air with yourself. So on Queering the Air, talking about queer issues, politics, interesting things in the queer community.
Yeah. And that's included, of course, also having discussions with fellow crafty and arty types within the queer community. Being someone that pursues creativity, both personally and also in a mercantile fashion.
Yes.
Your contributions to those discussions are always quite valuable from that viewpoint.
Creation, I think, is really a foundation of my trans identity in a way.
Yeah, wonderful.
Because, you sort of, for me at least, when I questioned what gender was to begin with,
yes,
it was like, oh, well, I get to make that up. And so everything from there, I'm just making it all up. It's all creativity. That's all it is.
Some levels of creativity are more fundamental and inherent.
Things like style, they're pretty fundamental and something you're creating as a trans person.
Yes.
You go from, I think in a lot of cases, having no sense of style or having a really performative sense of style.
Yeah.
And then as you recreate yourself in a lot of ways,
yes,
you create this authentic sense of style that is an expression. It's a creative process.
And whereas one can go to a catalogue and work out precisely what the hip urban young thing is now wearing, you don't find a catalogue that says the same thing about what trans people are wearing.
Absolutely not.
And you have to therefore really forge it for yourself, don't you?
100%, particularly I think when we're talking in non-binary spaces versus binary trans spaces, I think there's still room for that creativity within a binary trans space. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I find the non-binary space, because there are no societal expectations of what non-binary actually looks like. There are a lot of ideas floating around.
Apart perhaps from stop doing it.
Yeah, apart from stop doing it.
Which we refuse to obey.
100%. Not going to stop not believing in your weird gender goobly gob, I guess.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
For us, the stranger the better.
Yes, the stranger the better, absolutely.
It seems to me that, the sort of products that you create, they're like for the purposes of accessorizing, but specific choices are made by the customer, are they not?
Yes. Yeah. So I do sort of two modes of creativity. The first mode is in my own shed with my own creative process, making things that bring me joy.
Yes.
And then when I get out into a market or whatever environment I'm in with a customer, at that point I do customs. So it's a creative process with the customer in my mind to say, okay, you want a custom name, bracelet, choker, whatever it is.
Yes.
What does that look like for you? What colors are we using?
Yes.
How do you, do you want chunky beads? Do you express yourself in big statement pieces? Do you express yourself in small dainty pieces?
Yes.
Like, it's a real process with the customer as to what expresses them.
It reminds me of, in a strange way, of when I was working in commercial cookery, and it was bold or fine presentation.
Yes.
And you had different customers to various restaurants that did one or the other.
Exactly.
You could tell the bold crowds versus the fine dining crowds.
Exactly. And I get constantly surprised by the fact that I do have both crowds hitting me up for my work.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. Because I think like my view when I started making these beads was I was very much like just this little bead goblin. I was like, yeah, look at my beads.
My precious beads.
And so it surprises me when someone comes up to me and they want like this really beautiful fine piece. And I'm like, this guy.
Yeah.
You want this little guy to be like, yeah, I'm going to make you a little bracelet. But I mean, like, it works out for everyone. So
yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
I remember particularly at the time I had red hair. And now I have black hair, so it's still relevant. But yes, you sort of custom made a necklace for me, and we discussed colours, and quite naturally my answer was, oh, let's do black and red.
Yes.
Yes.
And you find that with most people, we all have our favourite colours.
Yeah, and normally I'm the sort of person, I suppose, that, at least wants to think of themselves as cynical, although, I think I'm actually quite idealistic. But that aside, fooling myself aside, I often would have thought that such a choice doesn't really matter. But no, once I put it on, it mattered to me, the fact that these were colours, even just something like the colours I had selected, added meaning to the piece.
100%. And, we're talking colour. You might be thinking the greens that you're wearing, you might be thinking the yellow that I'm wearing, but we're also talking things like the color of the hardware. So we're talking like this chain here being silver,
as opposed to rose
gold or black or anything along those lines.
Indeed.
And same with lettering and things like that go on. They all matter to someone. And once you put the piece on, and when you see those colors against your skin, and you see the words, in a lot of cases I do a lot of wording.
Yes.
All of those choices end up mattering and being affirming in the end.
And your customer base, what type of people? What are the demographics?
We get a lot of people. I think when I started the business, I really expected it to be queers, specifically just queer people. But really it's ended up being so various. I've had cisgender male straight dads commission bracelets off me for their little garage bands that they're got, or like with their kids' names on it or something like that. We've had, real fancy, lovely cisgender women who want a gorgeous little like fancy piece. And then we have the queers, obviously quite a lot of queers in my circles, especially as I do the gay stuff markets at the Pride Centre. Right. That is quite a queer crowd, obviously.
Absolutely. And there's a range of other queer markets you attend, is that
right?
Yeah.
Beers for Queers was one, but they're no longer doing markets anymore. Yeah, quite a few different spaces. And initially I did just run in queer spaces,
Yeah.
but I've been making a real effort to exist at cisgender spaces and markets
Yeah.
to really have that representation, because, you know, a queer in a sea of queers is a queer.
So a lot of trans creators that I've spoken to are talking about how there's an increasing number of venues and markets and the like, where I've even heard it described as they're not queer places, but they're queer adjacent.
Yes.
In fact, they're not saying queer friendly, they're saying queer adjacent. One that comes to mind was the roller derby, and how they have market stalls at the roller derby.
Yes.
Now, I believe you've been there. So I thought you might
Yes.
sort of expose how roller derby is a truly queer adjacent, a place to sell your wares.
Yeah, look, stepping into the building of a derby tournament. I've only done one derby tournament doing markets at so far.
Yeah.
But stepping in, it was called Otter, which is the open tournament to all, which meant that everybody that was in the building it wasn't just queers, it wasn't just women, it wasn't just non-binary, it wasn't just men, it was this huge range of people of different expressions, different sexualities, different everything. And I think that's what made it feel so queer adjacent.
Yes.
Was that, like, it was just such an accepting open space.
Yes.
That, yeah, it ends up being queer adjacent. It's not explicitly queer. There's no rainbow flag on the advertising. There's no, you know, they're not calling themselves the trans derby.
No.
They're really open to everyone.
The history of queer culture and trans culture has often included this sort of thing. I know a lot of rock and roll venues, and before that, a lot of strip joints were safe places for gender queer people, you know, as far back as the 50s and even the 40s to hang out in. Yeah.
I believe derby is actually one of those ones that's been around. I was talking to someone at my workplace recently about it, and they were saying sort of 70s, 80s, there was this resurgence of derby.
Well, I've seen clippings of black and white filmings of roller derby, so I think it might even go as far back further.
Yeah. And it has, from my understanding, always been this queer adjacent space.
It's only just one example, of course, but I thought, you know, it might be helpful for viewers to sort of get a sense of that sort of emerging trend.
I would give a shout out as well to the Coburg Makers Market, who are what I would call queer adjacent space.
Yes, okay.
Most of the vendors that I work with at gay stuff markets also appear at Coburg.
Yes, I see.
So I would say that 75% of the vendors there are queer.
Yeah, so there you go.
And maybe 25 to 40% trans specifically.
Yes.
So it's not, the markets do not advertise themselves as a trans or queer market.
Yes.
But there's still that really accepting adjacent space.
So, you know, TGDNB creators are, it seems, getting out there into those more mainstream spaces, but within specific areas where they're clearly overtly welcome.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
I think it's a very exciting development.
And it's the clearly being welcome that is a huge part of it.
Yes.
And the welcoming is, I would say, to go into very market vendory stuff.
Yes.
It's the most important thing.
Yes.
For them to be so welcoming. And the way that they do it isn't to be like, you are trans, therefore you are welcome.
Yes.
The way that they do it is that you will be setting up your stall and the organizers will come around and say, how are you doing? Do you need anything?
Supportive.
We've
rather
had
than
it to
just
the
this
point that we spoke to the organizer of one, my business partner and I spoke to the organizer of one market, and we were missing a piece for our display. He disappears for 10 minutes, comes back with the piece that he's made for free.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
And it's that level of supportive that's just like, no, we're just a part of the market.
Yeah, yeah.
We're so welcome here that it's not even a question of, is trans acceptable here?
Yeah.
It's this is your space.
Yeah.
It's for you.
When do you recall first feeling creative? So when do you feel you, in particular, realize this about yourself?
I would say that this came about in about year 4 for me.
Yeah.
So when I was about 8.
Yes. Okay.
Where I sort of got into the creative arts at primary school.
Right.
We did, there was an end of year musical for year 5 and 6 every year. And that was where I sort of was like, oh, I could express myself on stage.
Yes.
So musicals and theatre generally were my expressive outlet from about 8 years of age to about 23.
Yes.
So I always knew I was creative in that way. I didn't really always think of myself as visually creative, though.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that the visual creativity became a thing sort of in my late 20s.
Okay.
Was when I sort of started to pick up a couple of things. But it's only been about 2 years that I've been doing beading.
Beading, I'd say, comes under as like a category of material culture.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but I do find that some people, there's a difference between when they started contributing to that material culture and, on the other hand, when it is that they were admiring it. Did you find yourself admiring material culture much earlier than when you started contributing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Having little accessories like this
Yes.
has been something that's been always a way that I've expressed myself.
Yes.
And I have, since a very young age, wanted that to be, I guess, I hate talking about purchasing things, but purchased from other local community artists.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So I've always had that fascination with that material expression
Yes.
at a very local level.
So therefore, rather than just purchasing stuff that's cool, there's a sense, it seems to me, of you're engaging in a specific culture.
Yes.
That perhaps was defined at that time by being local.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And the local, I think, is something that I'll carry through my whole life.
Yes.
And that spreads out beyond creativity to my meat and veggies.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. It's kind of a core value of mine is being quite local.
So when do you recall your interests in that sense, transforming from local material culture to transgender, diverse, non-binary material culture?
I think it started way earlier than my internal world would let me admit.
Yes.
I think it started when I was about 12, when I was in musical theatre.
Yes.
And I was being given pins from pride marches and accessories from pride marches, and I would wear them all. I did not identify as queer at the time.
Yes.
But I would wear, badges that were pride badges. I would wear, bracelets, things like that, things that were expressing queer culture.
Yes.
From that age. I think sort of tangibly for me, when it became an interest in queer culture, was in my mid-20s after I started testosterone and had been transitioning and sort of was like, oh yeah, I want to represent. Without thinking, I've been representing since I was 12.
Looking back, a little strange for me that on one hand, I was straight. I was, completely straight.
Oh, yeah.
On the other hand, I was watching the Scary Fairies Miss 3D's Kylie show at the Aubrey Hotel, on Oxford Street in like 1987, I think, 88. Yeah. Completely straight.
Oh, so straight. So straight.
But there was definitely this attachment. It definitely resonated with me in some way. And it wasn't until later that I found myself being firstly openly queer and then sort of contributing in my own little way to queer culture and to trans culture.
Yeah, definitely.
There is that journey and there's an overlap and it's messy, isn't it?
It is. And I find that like a lot of conversations I have with other queer people is, I was a really good ally for years.
Yeah.
And we really do believe we're such good allies.
Aren't we?
Oh, we're so good.
In fact, so much so, there seems to be a bit of an inner passion for the being an ally.
Exactly.
Yes, but it can't quite can't quite work out what it is.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us find ourselves in the community before we're in the community.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Where do you think things are going with regards to transgender, diverse, non-binary contribution to both, culture within the queer world and within the wider world?
I think the wider world, I hear a lot of trans masks talking about how the wider world is really adopting our style.
Well, I think there's truth to it.
There absolutely is. You're seeing a lot of this, like, something that I would consider very transmasculine or non-binary fashion popping up in the cisgender world a lot now.
A lot.
And, I think rainbows obviously as a child, rainbows were a really big thing around me because I was into fairies.
Yes.
But I'm seeing them like rainbow motifs everywhere,
Yes.
even if they're not specifically pride related.
I think I'm going to vom if I hear the words "Yas Queen" again, so, on television. It's just it's
Yeah.
like my response is no, Queen.
No queen. Our culture is really permeating, and you bring up the Yas Queen culture on TV and thinking RuPaul's Drag Race, right?
Yes.
That's huge. That's culture now. That's mainstream culture. That's not just queer culture now.
Yeah, I would, I'd actually struggle to refer to it as queer culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, not that I'm not trashing it. It's just that, there is no longer that distinction when it comes to RuPaul, I believe.
No, I wouldn't say so. Drag itself as an art form has become a really mainstream thing.
Yeah,
you can go see a drag show anywhere in Melbourne.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be queer anymore.
So that's where we are. Where do you think it's heading?
I'm not sure. I can feel a lot of different things within the community.
There's a tug of war at the moment. I think there's a definite backlash that if in some cases is happening and in other cases is being vehemently attempted by people. I think some people dearly want the same backlash against trans and gender diverse and non-binary people, including in their creative output, as was the case in the 70s and 80s, and also to an extent the early 90s towards gay people.
Yeah, I think there is that. I think creativity, though, this is our way forward and out. To continue creating and to continue building our culture to the point where when it is replicated in places like RuPaul's Drag Race, we can still take pride in our creation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Allow, by all means, the appropriation, because there's to an extent, because that is a validation of what we're doing, but just press forward.
Yeah, and I think that, even things like drag becoming so mainstream can be a positive for our community.
Yes.
In that we can still have queer drag shows and we get cis people to come along and pay their dues, and we keep our community sustained that way. So I think we need to use that. We need to use this mainstreamification, I'm going to call it, of our culture.
Yes.
And use it to build ourselves up, to take our money back from cis people trying to beat us down. Pay us for our stuff, elevate ourselves.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. I do find working with you on radio that you're quite passionate too in trying to push the culture forward in our own small little way by contributing to the discourse. How's that feel for you? Without going into details.
We persist. The horrors persist, and so do we.
Yes, yeah. So apart from surely it's not merely the fear and the fright that is, on the other hand, inspiring you to continue.
Absolutely not.
What is it you get out of it personally?
I get to hang out with you every Sunday.
Oh, well, that's compensation in itself.
Yeah, exactly. But no, genuinely getting to just have conversations with other queer people.
Yes. Whether
or not they're recorded and put on air doesn't matter to me.
Yes.
It's having the conversation in the first place.
Yes.
For me, it's great that we get that impact beyond ourselves.
Yes.
But making the impact between each other
is
where I'm focused and what I get out of it.
And I think it's a genuine connection that means that sometimes what we do in that regard, the impact actually goes far beyond the show, because even collaborations form.
Yes.
Yeah, as a result of that meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, and collaborations outside of radio, outside of any of the projects I'm involved in, things keep happening to do with the projects.
Yes.
Yeah, if that makes sense. I feel like I was a bit roundabout there, but
I think it's something, but it is a rounded thing.
Yes.
Because there's feedback loops involved. Yeah, I think that we're not just putting things out there, but then things come back to us. Feedback, comments, outlines of concerns. And I think then just the culture and joint understanding just rolls forward from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
This has been Trans Creator Connections on Bent TV as part of Channel 31. Thank you for joining us. And I've been with Atlas, a most wonderful trans creator. Atlas, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.